everyone, welcome to my channel. So I am here for my very own book tag. So we are at the time of the year where everybody is graduating or finishing up school for the summer, which means, at least in my school it did, that all the yearbooks are coming out. But along with those yearbooks comes the strangest competition that we didn't know we were in, where the yearbook staff seems to assign titles to people throughout the school. I am talking about the superlatives section. You know, like most likely to succeed, class clown, the weirdest thing ever. Even as I was like perusing the internet coming up with different topics for this tag, y'all are vicious now. Like in my day, it was like most popular, most intellectual. Now it's just like most Instagram famous. That's a thing now? Kids. So I came up with a list of 12 superlatives that are somewhat friendly, I guess you could say, or at least they were ones that were in my yearbook before y'all kids got savage. So I will leave all of these superlatives listed down in the comments in case any of you would like to do this tag. I'm horrible at doing tag videos and tagging specific people, so this is gonna be an all-encompassing welcome to do this tag video. Y'all can do it if you want. Let me know if you do. We are gonna start with number 1. Best dressed, the classic superlative that is in every single yearbook. But this is going to be a book with obviously the most beautiful cover. At this point in my life, because this constantly changes for me, I would say Strange the Dreamer is the most beautiful cover, the UK edition. I sought long and hard to get this copy because look at it, it's just so shiny and simple and beautiful. I'm a big fan of it. Look at the style and that's as far as my fashion sense goes. Style. It's got style. Number 2 is Class Clown, a book that made you lol. Lots of laughing that happened in your reading experience. And for that, I'm gonna go with Anything by Jenny Lawson. These are the 2 that I personally own, and I laughed out loud the entire time reading these. I also highly recommend these because they are also a very good source for mental illness perspective, I would say. This is just a good mixture of like really incredibly depressing stuff, but also really funny things. Question 3 is Cutest Couple, a book featuring your favorite OTP. Do I even need to give explanation? I think we all know where I stand on this front. This. Question 4 is most popular, and this is going to be the book that is the most hyped right now on your shelf. I own many a hyped book because I read a lot of them, but I feel like the biggest hyped book of this year is The Cruel Prince, because everybody is scrambling to try and get their hands on Arcs of the Wicked King, and everyone is still talking about this book. So I'm gonna go with The Cruel Prince by Holly Black for most popular book so far in 2018. Number 5 is Nicest Car, because that was one that was actually in my yearbook and everyone was always jealous of that kid that rolled up in a Beamer at high school, because, you know, he can't afford a Beamer. But for this question, what is the most expensive book on your shelf? For me, it is this leather-bound, beautiful UK, gold embossed, lovely special edition of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Long story short, my mom and I were both working at Barnes & Noble years and years ago, and she happened to find this in the clearance section for like $1 or something like that. This book says $75 on the price tag because it is still wrapped in plastic. I will not take it off, but it is actually a leather-bound, beautiful, look at the edges, just look at it. It's beautiful. It's very expensive. I'm scared to have this. Question 6 is worst car, because yes, we like to make fun of the poor kids in my high school, because this was one in my high school. But for this one, we're going with a clunker. A not so attractive or nice looking cover, but still a solid story that will take you on a ride. For this one, I'm gonna cheat at my own book tag because that's the kind of commitment that I'm putting into this video. But I'm going with My Lady Jane because I personally am not a huge fan of this cover. In general, I'm not a huge fan of actual people being on the cover, especially people who are like looking right into your soul. But as far as this book goes, I haven't read it, hence the cheating part. But the people who have read it and that I trust their opinions say that they actually really enjoyed it. I will get to it soon, I promise. But regardless, this does not exactly portray the like comedy, historical farce that it's supposed to be. I just don't think that it gives off the proper vibe. I like the hot pink lettering, but just I think they could have done could have done better. Question number 7 is biggest nerd. What is the nerdiest book that you own? It could either be subject matter, you could be reading about nerds, or it could be just a book that you kind of have to explain to people if they happen to see it at your house, where you're like, hold on, let me justify why I own this, or I don't have a justification, but just please don't judge me. And for me, that's probably this book. So, this was a very exciting find for me. You can't really tell what this is, but this is a very, very old antique edition of Diseases of the Horse from the Department of Agriculture, published in 1907. This is just a very, very old book about horse care and horse health that was used by veterinarians back in the day. I obviously have more updated modern versions of this because I am a horse girl. I have owned horses, I've worked with horses my entire life, so I'm a huge veterinary large animal medicine nerd, and when I found this, I got very excited. This is literally just an antique horse disease book, but I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Question number 8 is most likely to be late, and this is going to be a book that you think is super underhyped and you're still waiting for the fandom and the craze to hit. Like, it might be a book that you read that nobody else has heard of, but you were so excited to talk about it and you would just have no one to discuss it with. For me, that is Sleeping Giants, or this entire series, Waking Gods and Only Human. This is an adult sci-fi series that I just keep forcing down people's throats and they're just not reading it. I don't know why, but it is so good. If you guys like Illuminae and you're looking for something like a little bit more thought-provoking and darker, this is it. This is kind of like an adult version of Illuminae. It's told in mixed media, so it's told in like court cases and documents and emails. It's so good. It is so good, and it's one of those books that has a lot of twists and turns, so I can't pitch it to people very well without spoiling anything. But I need to talk about this. Why has nobody read this? I'm waiting for the fandom to arrive. It's not here yet. I'm sitting alone by myself at this party, but I'm gonna eat all the snacks before everybody gets here. Number 9 is most likely to succeed, and this is going to be the first book in a series that you think is going places. So this is going to be a somewhat newer release, or just a book that you just recently discovered that is the beginning to a series that's gonna be amazing, and you can tell by book 1. And I know that I'm not alone in thinking this because this is like possibly the biggest release of 2018. I'm going with Children of Blood and Bone. We all know this series is going places. I met Tomi Adeyemi in March. She is an amazing human being. If for no other reason to read her book, she's awesome. Just follow her on Instagram and you'll fall in love with her, and then you'll be like, I have to read whatever she writes, and then you read it and you're like, oh man, this is just as amazing as she is. That was a little long-winded, but this series is going places, people. Number 10 is Most Athletic, and this is going to be a book that gives you a workout. The biggest book that you own. This can be either page length or just all over size. And for me, it's this chunker of a coffee table book. Oh my god. So, this is a book of equine photography stuff. I'm literally gonna fall over holding this. This book is massive, but it's a lot of just beautiful horse photography that is amazing, but it will in fact break your coffee table because it's huge. Like, look how big it is. This is my body. This is the book. It's so big and it's so thick. That's what she said. Get your mind out of the gutter, people. Number 11 is Most Intellectual, the most thought-provoking book that you have read. For me, the most recent thought-provoking book, like book that I could not stop thinking about, is Scythe, along with the sequel Thunderhead. This book is the first book in such a long time that I thought about non-stop. Like, when I wasn't reading it, I was thinking about it. Every time they introduce like a new concept or theory in this world, I was just like, what? It makes your mind just like roll with the concept, where you start questioning things in this world that aren't even relevant to the story yet, and you just can't stop thinking about it. Definitely pick this up if you guys have not started the series yet. It's amazing. And the last one is Best All Around, because that is a healthy way to rank children amongst each other. You definitely tell everybody at the end of their school career which one was the best at being a human being. But this is going to be a book that you will always recommend to people. No matter what it is, you will stand by this book. And for me, it is the Raven Cycle series, the whole series. I feel like there's something in this series that can appeal to everybody. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a guy, if you're a girl, if you're into fantasy, if you're into contemporary or magical realism or eerie vibes or funny vibes, cars, everything. There's just so much in this series that can appeal to such a wide variety of people. Also, I love it. I love it so much. It's the best all around. So there you have it. Those are the 12 somewhat nicer superlatives, at least nicer than what yearbooks are nowadays apparently, because y'all are cruel. I will still say it. People are vicious with their ranking of humans. I'll leave all of these down in the description if you guys would like to partake. Again, I'm terrible at doing tags, so I don't have anybody in particular to tag. If you do it, let me know. That would be super, super duper. Do that. So that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you partake in doing this tag as well, and I will see you guys in my next video.